We're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We are North Georgia's only live online morning show. I'm just checking some emails and some text messages. We're North Georgia's only live online morning show, and that wraps up our interviews of candidates this morning. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Fetch Your News, at FYNTV on Twitter, and follow our Facebook page, Fetch Your News and FYNTV Facebook page, and to see our lineup every day of the guests we will have. Now, dangerous to the community. I'll just say that. What say you, Amanda? You got anything going on today before we wrap up?
I got something real quick. So we were talking yesterday about Diamond and Silk. And so I've seen all the videos and how Facebook's putting up a censorship on their Facebook page. There's nothing on their YouTube channel yet. But earlier they had posted a couple of things. Diamond and Silk had posted together. Let us be clear, Facebook has not communicated with Diamond and Silk and Mark Zuckerberg or in any way. They have not tried to communicate with them why they have deemed them unsafe. But there was a post from a viewer that Diamond and Silk had actually shared onto their page where he could not follow them and see their, I don't know if you are familiar with the settings where you can follow somebody and see, you can ever have a default where their stuff just comes up on your feed, and you can have a see first where if they post something it will come up in your notifications. Well, Facebook had actually set up where you could not see first on Diamond and Silk's page, because I tried it. So this was earlier this morning when I could not follow, I could not see Diamond and Silk stuff first. Well, I come back to it about an hour later after the post, and it suddenly let me follow it first. So this is just a quick cleanup from Facebook.
A quick cleanup from Facebook.
Cleanup.
So now they were marked dangerous, possible dangerous to community.
Right.
So it's almost like the post office, where a danger to the community, may be armed and dangerous, right?
And that has everything to do with them being a conservative.
Maybe, yeah, well, wait, let's not gloss over something, okay? The left picks winners and losers, and they pick who they will support and who they will rally behind when it comes to women. This is a direct example, okay, of the hypocrisy of the left. Because a conservative woman with a pro-life agenda or conservative agenda or pro-NRA, whatever you may say, the list goes on, they do not rally behind you. You know, if you were to lose your job today, for example, because you're conservative and I'm not a conservative news network, and I'm not satisfied with your stance, even if it's on the show or not, or your views, there would be no women rushing here to rally behind you.
Right.
They would not be here to rally behind you. But if we're a conservative news network and you're pro-choice, and I mean, I'm just using a couple examples, you know where I'm going with that, or you voted for Hillary and you're offended and you feel this is a hostile work environment.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, right, totally. It is a hostile work environment, or oh, right. Which was the answer on that? So, but what I'm saying...
I get where you're going with
Yeah,
this.
But let's not gloss over the fact that, A, these are women.
Yep.
They say they are black women, but they're African-American women that support Trump. So that's a little confusing.
They've got a loud voice with being conservative and African-American in this country, and Facebook wants it down.
They want to shut down the African-American conservative viewpoint.
Yes.
That cannot happen. And the interesting thing is they have the stereotype of what generally is being on the list of being defended by left-wing groups when it comes to women and women's rights and their ability to speak their mind, correct?
That is correct.
But Diamond and Silk are considered dangerous to the community.
Unsafe. Facebook has deemed them unsafe.
Unsafe, but they are, and you wonder the power. Now we have can you look this up for me while I'm talking about something else? Look up the state senator or state legislator in California that has created a bill. I read this yesterday, I forget his name, that is introducing a bill for the state of California to put in a fake news monitor. Okay? It's actually going to be from the state. This kind of stuff is scary as hell. You know, they want kids to go out and take your guns, and state monitored. It starts there, but never fear. We are not going to take away any of your constitutional rights. We will defend them. See if you can find that. Folks, here in Georgia, and my concern is I have seen this on the, we've seen this in Georgia across the country, and this has, and I didn't get a chance to ask Casey Cagle this, but this has also, what I would like to ask all the candidates for governor how they feel about DACA when you say, well, that's a federal question, but no, it affects states. Because if DACA passes and Georgia has an enormous amount of illegals in the state of Georgia, and if DACA passes, it immediately gives these illegals, makes them legal and gives them a whole new set of rights under the Georgia Constitution and available benefits to them and different things that they can take advantage of just by the stroke of a pen by the federal government. So when you look at DACA and you ask yourself, well, why would you ask a governor, a candidate for governor that question? It affects every state. Now, Arizona, there's an argument in so many state Supreme Court right now that illegals that are from DACA get in-state tuition. Okay, so you know if little Bobby or Susie, if they want to go out to another state, state schools were originally set up, and I don't want to say this because I get in trouble, but to educate the children in your state with some sort of subsidy or low cost to the residents of your state to help the children in your state get an education. But we know that went out the window and they have exploded. But still yet you have what's called out-of-state tuition, which also applies to out of the country. You don't get in-state tuition. So Arizona rejected, the Arizona court yesterday rejects lower in-state tuition for immigrants. The Arizona Supreme Court has ruled that young immigrants granted deferred deportation status, deferred DACA, right? Hell, you say. I think that's DACA. So the court ruled that young immigrants, DACA, granted deferred deportation status under a program started by former President Barack Obama, are not eligible for lower in-state tuition. Well, isn't that the saddest story you've heard today? That Barack Obama's illegal children, interesting, the way I just put that, are not eligible for in-state tuition, DACA. Okay, the young immigrants granted deferred deportation status under a program started by President Barack Obama are not eligible for college, in-state college tuition, the Arizona Supreme Court ruled Monday. Here's something I want you to take note of in the story while they are talking about Stormy Daniels, $130,000, and President Donald Trump's attorney. The unanimous ruling. Now, get that. This is not lead story anywhere in the United States. This is a state Supreme Court. State Supreme Court, okay? And we don't have one justice defecting. We do not have one dissent ruling. We cannot read the dissent opinion. Now, what that is, if I'm correct, is when a court, okay, rules on something, 5-4, 5-4, 6-3, I don't know, whatever, there is the descending side. There's the minority side, and there's a descending there's a descending opinion written. All right. They did not. This group, it's somebody in that group that voted no they write their opinion, and it does go on record of why they voted no. There's not one dissenting opinion here to be had on this. So this is DACA, folks. I have been to rallies in Georgia where illegals that are under the deferred deportation status, DACA, want in-state tuition because they started school here, but they got here when they were 4, 6, 7, or started in the 5th grade or whatever. Under this status, they want that. It will affect 2,000 students attending the state's largest community college district and hundreds more in other colleges and the state's 3 public universities. First word of the 7-0 decision in a tweet from Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich. The court said it would issue a written opinion explaining its reason by May 14th. 7-0. The higher court heard the arguments, but 7-0. This ruling is troubling for 2,000 DACA students currently enrolled in community college. DACA. That subject, Arizona State University, there is state rights here, there's federal rights. Now, if the federal government comes out and cuts a DACA deal, we have an Arizona Supreme Court, state Supreme Court decision on this now. DACA. I'm just telling you, this story is bigger than they're giving it credit for. Amanda, did you find that person in that story for me?
I did.
Let's go to break. Let's take a brief break and get everything off the computer I don't want to see anymore and all the things I want to close the show. So let's take a brief break, and we're going to come back, talk about freedom of speech, fake news. Who's going to decide? We'll tell you when we return.